Thursday, 24th June 2021. Coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. This is Breakfast Central.
Ha! We're back. Welcome to the brightest breakfast show on the African continent. My name is Felicity Ezewike. I'm sure you're getting ready to face the day and ensure you achieve all your goals. We're here to keep you company. Good morning to you all over Africa. You're welcome.
Well, good morning, Africa. Welcome to Breakfast Central. My name is Olisa Chukma, reporting for duty today. And as international observances go, today is actually Take Your Dog to Work Day, as it stands. I'm sure you love dogs, don't you? Or
no, I don't.
You beg to differ.
I'm actually terrified of dogs. They're cute and all. I see the videos and I say, oh, but no, I don't go near them at all.
Not even the small handbag, fluffy
even
ones.
Even the most beautiful puppy. I'm scared of them. I don't know why.
Yeah, we'll be looking more on that. You want to keep it like right here on Breakfast Central. Dogs, animals, and the way we treat our pets. You know, as Africans here, we do love our pets, don't we? Right, now, so welcome to Breakfast Central. It's a Thursday, yes, indeed, and we'll put the icing basically on your morning cake, if you may, starting out quite brightly. But let's start today with a look at the headlines.
Illegal Chinese gold mining uncovered in Sierra Leone.
Also, African Union calls for support from Nigeria.
We also have African countries risk debt default. That's according to the AFDB.
Plus, what's the latest trends across the continent of Africa?
We have the latest sports updates, particularly with the Euro 2020.
Well, thank you for watching. It's the Breakfast Central on News Central today, Thursday. Now, let's begin the program with a look at the front pages and, yes, of course, different parts of Africa. Felicity, where are we starting off today?
Oh, we're going to West Africa, Nigeria. Daily Independent is the big one we're looking at. Expectedly, security operatives working with bandits, Gumi alleges. Now, that is one very controversial figure. You'll find details of that story on page 6 of the paper. It comes with two rider, says IPOB kills security agents. Bandits only kidnap for money. I mean, I don't even know how to begin to react to that screamer. All right, we have other headlines there. If you are in Nigeria and in Anambra State, this one would interest you. Anambra Soludo picks Abga Guba ticket. KK faction suspends him. Senate indicts NSA over $2.3 billion, 1 billion naira, 196,257.42 euros, and that's of the NPA funds. More headlines for you. Let's just take this one and move on to the other one. That's below the pictures on the front page there. You're looking at we have no hand in controversial media bills at NAS. That's the presidency speaking. It has this rider, FG to ECOWAS court, Twitter ban, not human rights violation. Well, everybody will say, I beg to differ.
All right, let's leave West Africa, Nigeria, go to East Africa with the Daily Monitor in, all right, there's the Sowetan, shall we? All right, so let's go to South Africa, the Sowetan. Big story on the front page. Now, we followed this yesterday at the top there, all about the massive educational vaccination of teachers. Now, jabs for teachers are the top Huge turnout on day one. So not bad at all when it comes to the vaccination program. And there's a picture there of Terence Mbemfa, one of the educators board who got his jab at the Metro Emergency Medical Services yesterday. And you can see he was in prayers as he was receiving his first jab. That really got people winking eyes in South Africa. All right, so I hope after the prayers and the jab, he's okay. Also, talking about health and vaccination in South Africa based on COVID-19, the embattled health minister there, Zweli Mkhize, on the front page. So he talks about the 22 million rand frozen, but the hunt is still on for digital vibes loot. We hear the SIU hot on the money trail as some of the 150 million rand paid by health department has been channeled to family members and companies linked to contractors. So it's still an embattled one for the health minister out there of South Africa, Zweli Mkhize, and that's all on the front page of the Sowetan in South Africa.
Well, in this case of the man praying and taking his jab, I think that's doing two things as that is good. God helps those who help themselves. So taking the jab and praying works very well. All right, let's head now to Namibia with the Namibian Sun. The big one there on your screen is working in the Valley of Death. Where could that be? Health centers only fumigated once since start of pandemic. I guess that's enough reason to say one is working in the Valley of Death. There are other stories there. Court rejects striking NBC workers' bid to get paid. Namibians experience most violence globally. Well, other people will argue with that. It depends on which side of the divide you are looking at. Namibia, land of the brave. Unfortunately, that was cancelled and say rapists. There seem to be a plague of that there. You might want to go read details of that story, that picture on the front page there. Namibia has the highest rate of violence experienced among its population, recapped on the front page of the Namibian Sun.
All right, so let's go to the Daily Monitor in Uganda finally. This morning on the front pages, June 24th, Thursday, 2021. Now it talks about the government bans using oxygen at home. So let's find out why. It says the restriction comes in the wake of many brokers advertising what they claim is medical oxygen, triggering fear among health experts that the practice could open a window for quacks to administer the wrong type of oxygen to patients in undesignated places at home. So we know that there's a shortage of oxygen out there due to COVID-19, and the government is banning the home use of this oxygen. Also talking about the lockdown, strict restrictions in Uganda, Kampala. There's a picture of a man, preparing a meal in the popular Narembe Road of the busiest streets in Kampala yesterday. The capital quite deserted due to restrictions of COVID-19 lockdown, and the man in the street is his home. His 42-day lockdown has helped him have relative peace. So
that's quite telling of
irony.
The situation with people that are homeless, not only in Namibia, I mean, in that part of the world, but in other parts of Africa. You have a whole lot of them on the streets.
So it says, empty streets give man room to breathe and cook. Wow, talk about the dilemma or the irony, yes, when it comes to COVID-19. Clear streets for some, but peace for others. Right then, so it's Thursday, June 24th, 2021. It's start time to take you through our top stories right here on Breakfast Central.
Don't go away.
All right, we're taking you to Sierra Leone right now as the people of the country begin to come to terms with the revelation of, illegal iron ore exports. There is another scandal rocking the country right now. This time it's all about the $55 million Chinese fish mill factory deal at Black Johnson in Freetown, which is in the western part of the country, Sierra Leone. And now authorities have uncovered massive industrial-scale illegal Chinese gold mines in the eastern part of the country.
The illegal Chinese gold mines are located in Penguins Chiefdom in the far corner of Kailahun district, eastern Sierra Leone, which the government has kept secret for the past 3 years. Let's now bring in Joe Brooks.
All right, we're looking to bring Joel Brooks.
Have him.
Yes, much later he'll be tuning in from Liberia to tell us on the latest story on this issue of illegal mines in China. $55 million worth.
Okay, I understand we have him now. That's Joel Brooks, the CEO of Global News Network Incorporated in Liberia. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, Joel.
Okay, I think...
Hello, Joel. Good morning.
Okay, I will try and reconnect with him in a bit. But like you said, Olisa, the situation is quite worrisome.
Scandal, huge.
You have the pandemic to worry about, you have corruption to worry about, you have the other scenario that you painted, and now we have this
illegal
amount of
illegal mining in such a country blessed with so much minerals. Don't forget that, this is a country that have seen conflict, and with conflict diamonds, especially in the 1990s, which cost lots of lives, and forced child workers with unimaginable kind of labor enforcement on young people in that
You've
country.
had scenarios of people dying in these mines, and then you say they're illegal. Government really cannot do much for these people. I don't understand why people still continue to put their lives at risk. But then again, you juxtapose that with the level of poverty across Africa, and then you just kind of feel weakened, really.
And all goes back to the international, what would they call it, ring of gold purchase and the value. All right, so let's bring on Joel live from Liberia. Joel, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Central.
Yeah, good morning. How you doing?
All right.
Hello, Joel.
We still cannot hear him, but if you can hear us, Joe, could you tell us what you know about the illegal mining that's been reported in Sierra Leone?
Oh, yeah, it's real. It's real. I mean, even here in Liberia, there's a lot of legal mining with Chinese guys doing legal mining. And the Sierra Leone thing is no strange thing to Liberia. Liberians themselves are complaining about the influx of Chinese into their soils and mining without permission. So, I mean, it's no different from what is happening in Sierra Leone.
Joel, now there are 25 massive illegal Chinese gold mines that have been discovered so far. Now, how long has this been really going on in Sierra Leone?
Well, from what I've gathered, it has been going on for a very long time. I think sometime last year, some of the illegal miners, according to report, were arrested and then later sentenced. But then still, it's still going on. It's still going on. Like I just said, I mean, Sierra Leone being our neighboring country, Liberia has gotten the taste of it. The inflow of Chinese to every county, every district. Doing mining is getting too much. I mean, the government has not said anything about the Chinese inflow,
All right, let's quickly clarify before I come to the next question that Joel Brooks is actually in Sierra Leone. He is the CEO of Global News Network Incorporated. Now, let's talk about the Penguin chip dun. It has been ravaged by illegal Chinese mining and lodging since the new administration came to power 3 years ago. What do you think gave rise to that?
Well, I think what gave rise to that is because there had been no law put in place to ban this guy from legal mining. Now, it gave rise because the Chinese, the Chinese, basically, I'm stressing on the Chinese because they are the ones doing illegal mining. The Chinese are coming in every day they are coming in, and then nothing has been done. So it gave rise to the huge inflow of Chinese doing illegal mining in that country. I mean, like I just said, it's a similar thing is happening also in Liberia. So, I mean, it's serious to the citizen wealth.
All right, Joel, Cholo, just before we let you go, if this illegal mining is going on with these gold mines, and we love to call them conflict diamonds because they really cause a lot of problems. Now, what about the kind of labor being engaged for this illegal mining? Because if it's run by the Chinese, are local people being, employed? Is that being exploited? Are children being used once again, just like we saw in the 1990s, both in Liberia and indeed in Sierra Leone?
Oh yeah. Because of the inflow of the Chinese coming into Sierra Leone, and then the poverty overwhelming the citizenry. Are urging their citizens to go and do legal mining because they can't find anything to feed themselves. So mostly those who have been hired by the Chinese are underage children. I mean, it looks so pitiful when you see what is happening in that part of Africa. So I mean, that's it. Mostly they use the children. They use the underage children, 16, 17, to do the legal mining for them. So I mean, that's it.
The Chinese seem to be in the middle of most of the controversy in that country. What is for instance, the community, the Chinese community there, I'm talking about the embassy and the ambassador and the government of Sierra Leone, doing to sort of address the scenario where you have most of the situation having Chinese in the middle of it?
Well, from what I gathered some time ago, there was some protest where the citizens called on the government and the Chinese embassy to do something about the illegal mining by Chinese. And then the ambassador, from what I gathered, the ambassador gave the assurance that he was going to get in contact with the Foreign Affairs Ministry and then to see what best they can do. But then the government itself, the citizens are blaming the government because the government is so relaxed and nothing is being done really to making sure that these kind of things are driven out of their country. So I mean, that's the situation there.
Quite unfortunate, really.
It does look like it's a helpless situation, but surely, Joel Cholo, before we let you go, something has to be done because this cannot continue. It's the discovery, it's been termed industrial massive-scale illegal mining. So it's basically in your front face. So somebody's got to take charge at some point.
Oh, that's it. I mean, someone has to take charge because, like I just kept saying, Liberia is one of those countries where Chinese are doing illegal mining because, some time ago, the issue of blood diamond came about. And then, I mean, people are just mining diamond, mining gold, and all of that. Nothing is being done. But from what we got as journalists, we understand that some high-ups in these respected governments give these guys the go ahead, and then they sit in the background, and then while the citizen complain helplessly.
Well, I guess that we'll have to leave it there and circle back to you for any development. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for talking to me this morning.
It's a pleasure.
As Joel Cholo Brooks, CEO of Global News Network Incorporated, giving us the latest in the story of massive discovery of illegal Chinese mining going down in Sierra Leone. More top stories right here on Breakfast Central. Still Breakfast Central on News Central. Now, the West Africa Network for Peace Building says over 20,000 Nigerians died due to violence and insecurity in the last 10 years. Now, this figure was announced at a stakeholders meeting in Abuja to deliberate on ways and efforts to tackle insecurity in the country.
Some of the speakers say Nigeria ought to have declared a state of emergency on insecurity based on the casualty figure. They also faulted the inability of Nigeria's government to leverage on intelligence capacity of Nigeria's indigenous population in areas mostly hit by insecurity.
If you look at the data, that is coming out from some of the global mass atrocity data, is showing that between 2010 and now, Nigeria has lost over 26,000 people. And there are also data showing in the last few months that we have lost over 5,000 people due to kidnapping, murder, and what have you. We would have expected that the country would have taken it as a matter of urgency. It's also brief us because people are unsafe. One of the ministers has said that the country is bleeding, so meaning that there is fears pervading everywhere. So would have expected daily briefing, from the presidency, to the Nigerian people on efforts that are being taken. I think the information around it's not enough, to be able to empower the people to be able to also, in their own different community, to be able to respond either to early warning signs or use their own indigenous knowledge. Security architecture issue is not only a state business, so it is important for the state to domesticate it amongst the people so that the people can also be able to respond if they have the adequate information. For us to strategize on how, from the 36 states and the architecture that we already have on ground, how they can begin to intervene at community levels using their indigenous knowledge to be able to support some of these issues. Some people came, carried about 500 students. Nobody saw them when they were coming. So there are a lot of things we can benefit from indigenous knowledge, and I think that the government is not exploring that enough. If we explore indigenous knowledge, information by community, community can also tell us when they see strange faces coming, and we need to do that. The government needs to harness that so that they can build a network between the government responses and the community response.
All right, away from that story now, let's tell you that the African Union, the AU, has called on Nigeria's support for expected reforms in the Commission. Now, the Deputy Chairperson of the African Union Commission in charge of finance, that's Dr. Monique Nsanzaba-Gonwa, during her maiden visit to Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, noted that the new reforms will improve the operation of the Commission.
There is a new vision, there is a new dawn, there is a new institutional reform that has taken place, which we are going to implement, and it's in the spirit, it's in the letter, it's in the culture that we have to put in place a new culture of really delivery of responsible citizens, of professionals, and a new commission that is really, I would say, motivated by delivering tangible results. We are creating a market, a continental open market for electricity. We are creating open markets for all other things that we are doing, research, vaccines manufacturing, and so on and so forth. So that's one area we want to look at, how to actually come up with a financial model to do that. We are implementing the new structure. We are recruiting. I hope that Nigerians have applied some of the positions. It's going to be a merit-based competition.
The health area is going to be, I think, also very important for us. And we need to mobilize all the resources we can in those areas. But yeah, and also it's interesting to hear from you with regards to, the Agenda 2063, how we're moving in that directions, how we're synchronizing with the SDGs, and if there are funding gaps in the aspirations in achieving some of the objectives in that area going forward. It's not just signing and signing up to the AFCTA, but I think that we really have to.
Well, there you have it for our top stories. Coming up next on Breakfast Central. We'll be bringing you updates from outside Africa.
Plus the updates from Euro 2020. Who's through? Germany, Portugal and co.
Of course, Lizzie will be joining us with trends across Africa. You're still watching the brightest breakfast show in Africa here on News Central. Don't forget, you can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and you can stream live on YouTube. Watch us live on Star Times channel 274 and on Alva TV channel 23.
Yes, indeed. Now, there is a heightened risk of defaults on the African continent as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has led to heavier debt burdens while worsening the poverty situation and widening inequality. And now the African Development Bank has warned this latestly. Now, we have our business desk editor, Nasser Agbalaya, who will be shedding more light on this in terms of debts with African countries. And he's also joined by Tunji Andrews. Good morning, gentlemen, but Nas, over to you.
All right, we're yet to be joined by Tunji, but for now we have Nas. So just go ahead and break this down for us. What does this mean?
Good morning, guys. Well, first, it means that Africa could really do default. Now, look at it this way. You're owing debt to someone and you're not able to pay as at when due. That's the story of many African nations. We know that already one nation has already defaulted. Now, the fear now is to avoid others defaulting. Now, when Akinwumi Adesina made this remark, he made reference to the lost decade. That is particularly talking about what happened in the 80s when the whole African continent tried the Structural Adjustment Program, SAP. Well, we all know what transpired then. Literally, every nation had to cut back on its spending, and truly, it was a real austere period. Right now, African continent is facing this possible return of that, say, cutting your coat according to your cloth, not size, by the way. Unfortunately, revenue has not been what it should be on the African continent. We all know what the COVID-19 pandemic has caused Africa. By and large, many nations are now trying to reinvent themselves. A principal example is Ghana, that is trying to use foreign direct investment onto Ghana, and also trying to look for innovative ways of bringing in more revenue. For instance, they want to revamp their refinery, the Tullow refinery. This is another plan ongoing. Now, Nigeria is following that plan also to reduce its reliance on importing refined petroleum products. By and large, if all these plans become reality, a good number of African nations will be able to reduce their debt burden by increasing their export quota and, of course, improving the balance of trade.
All right, Nas, this is quite a serious warning from the African Development Bank, the AFDB, but not to name names, but you really have to put it out there. Which countries are now at risk of default? Are we talking about still Kenya, or is anyone leading that pack right now?
Zimbabwe is a typical example of a country that could. It is not a fault of theirs. The sanctions which has been imposed from the Robert Mugabe era is still biting hard. All the effort which the current government is putting in place is not working because they are not able to export what they have as at when due. For instance, now Zimbabwe has a bumper harvest this season, and if they were able to export this, a good number of their debts will be able to be paid off. Now, we all know that what is happening in Zambia. The copper mines are producing not at optimal capacity because also of COVID-19. Now, the examples are so many. And all these hints to the fact that production capacity has been reduced on the African continent. When this is improved, we'll find a different situation happening in Africa.
You're talking about, countries trying to improve their economy, but we know that in spite of defaulting in the debt in some African countries, there are more that are borrowing, even during this pandemic. What would be the long-term implication of that?
Borrowing itself is not a bad thing. The main problem here, the talking point here, is the ability to pay back. And also, when you're borrowing, are you able to negotiate to have the interest of what you can afford? These are the principal factors here. Now, a major creditor of Africa is China. And unfortunately, the discussion with China is not so transparent. Now, many nations borrow from China at different rates. And China has not come to the table to say that, yes, we will provide debt relief, unlike what the G20 has been able to do for some African nations. So it is not about the borrowing, but it's about the deal before you borrow. And also, when you borrow, use it for what will be able to, say, generate some form of revenue later on, or will be actually cost reliant. For instance, if you build more roads or say more industrial hubs, now this in itself would pay you back directly. Now for the roads, you could have a toll pole at different points there, depending on how long the road is and how many people use the road. Now, this road, of course, will serve as a means of moving goods from point A to point B. And also, you could toll the road, where as people pay you for using this road, you can use part of this revenue coming from the road directly to pay off part of its debts.
All right. Thank you very much, Nas Agbalaya, for giving us the latest when it comes to this warning from the African Development Bank. We did hear the boss, Aki, when we were talking about African countries should be producing, vaccines and not, begging for hand-me-downs. But there'll be more on that to catch up later. But thank you very much, Nas.
Great to be here, guys.
All right.
All right, from business, let's quickly look at bringing you some of the shows to look out for here on News Central later today.
Well, you can catch Beyond the Continent at 1 p.m. Everything outside Africa.
Of course, Village Square Africa is up at 7 p.m. with Sulai.
And NC Continental Prime at 9 p.m. West African time. You don't want to miss that one too. You're also watching Breakfast Central on News Central, and telling the African story is what we do best here. But we also keep an eye on what's going on in terms of the happenings around the world and beyond the continent. Now, to join us this morning to tell us what's going on is none other than Joe Hansen himself. Well, Joe, good morning to you. Outside Africa, what are the major happenings around the globe?
Well, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Felicity. So many is happening, but I can tell you guys that I didn't come with glad tidings. I came with sad story, so sad stories. John McAfee, for those of us who are used to, if you have a laptop, you also have to ensure that you install, the security and everything. Well, John McAfee, by that name you should know, the controversial person, a CEO who had multiple recent run-ins with the U.S. law, has actually died. Now that's a sad story. He died at the age of 75. McAfee was awaiting extradition in a Spanish prison after being in the United States last year. Now McAfee was found dead in his cell in a prison near Barcelona on Wednesday around 1 p.m. and the cause of the death is still under investigation. A statement from the Catalonia Regional Government's Justice Department, which manages prisons there, said that prison medical personnel and guards attempted to perform life-saving procedures after finding McAfee, but were unsuccessful. The statement said everything indicates that McAfee could have died by suicide. McAfee was arrested in Spain, by the way, in October after being indicted in the United States for tax evasion months earlier. He allegedly failed to file taxes for 4 years, despite earning millions in income between 2014 and 2018. And Lisa and Felicity, this makes me ask questions like, if you were making so much money, why didn't you just file your tax returns?
I mean,
but anyway,
sometimes these geniuses...
Well, from one sad story, let's move over to another sad story, guys. Let me quickly run through this. A former Philippine President, Benigno Aquino, has also died at the age of 61. Well, that is another sad story that came up. News reports say Aquino had been undergoing dialysis for at least 5 months and had recently undergone heart surgery. Well, according to news sources, he was hospitalized early in the day on Thursday. Aquino was 61 from 2010 to 2016 and was succeeded in office by the incumbent Rodrigo Duterte. His family has yet to issue an official statement, but his former spokeswoman, Abigail Varte, told reporters in Manila a statement is forthcoming today. So those are the two stories I have for you from outside Africa. One coming all the way from Spain, talking about McAfee, and the other one from the Philippines. But you can join us at 1 p.m. when we bring to you all the updates from outside the continent of Africa, otherwise known as Beyond the Continent.
Yes, indeed. But before you go, I was just going to say that McAfee, as many other people who make a lot of money from their inventions, sometimes they get overwhelmed with the power that they have and feel maybe they can get away with certain things. But it's good to see that the law still takes its long arms and pull people in check. It's just unfortunate that he passed away before he could actually face
It's quite sad,
time.
Felicity. I must add to that as I take my leave. It's really, really sad that the law is quite strong over there. And this is one of the things that a lot of Africans are hoping happens here in Africa, where those in charge or those at the helm of affairs are being held responsible when they break the law.
Thank you very much, Joe Hansen.
Thank you very much, Joe. Quite sad passing of the story. He was a man who lived quite a life. Don't forget, at some point, he ran for U.S. elections in 2015. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know who won that election, right?
Yes, indeed, we do. But like the saying goes, I mean, something must kill a man.
Right. Well, still Breakfast Central on News Central. Now, the conversation does not just end with the dailies and television alone. In fact, these days, most conversations get the most hits on the social media space. So we'll be finding out up next what's trending across Africa.
Stay with us. Lizzie is here with us. Lizzie, good morning.
Olisa, Felicity, good morning. Olisa, good morning. How are you?
We're doing great, Liz.
Doing great.
Please give us what's trending because we know that we all identify as, you know,
I'm
black
a woman.
African, so
I'm definitely black.
Black.
it's the identity for me, Liz.
All right, let me take you quickly through what is trending at the moment in Nigeria. So
Okay.
in a recent article written by the People's Gazette yesterday, the 23rd of June, the article reveals how President Buhari's administration allegedly provided seed capital for Adamu Garba's Kore social media platform with hopes that the app would help the government dominate internal narratives while posing a challenge to Facebook and Twitter for the Nigerian audience. So Adamu Garba, as we know, is known for being one of the voices of the PMB administration after abandoning his presidential aspirations in 2018. In this article by the People's Gazette, it was revealed that on the 21st of May 2019, the CBN transferred 136.8 million to Adamu Garba's IPI Solutions. As you can see on the screen, that's a screenshot of the payment. And 2 years and months later, the app is yet to get the appeal of many Nigerians. Now, let's take you back a bit to October 2020, where in the wake of the EndSARS protest in October last year, Adamu Garba apparently filed a lawsuit against Twitter for its dangers. This is something people see as a bid to push Nigerians to his Kore platform. And again, in the early part of this month, the app has failed to pick up despite the government's ban on Twitter. And right now, this is what people are reacting to to at the moment. So let's have a look at some of the reactions people are making. So that's one from Wale Adetono, which says the CBN actually transferred 136 to Adamu Garba's company account just to create an app to rival Twitter. Wow. And there's another reaction from another user, David Honda. He says, something that everyone missed from the CBN Adamu Garba story is that the random zero achievement tech companies like Adamu's IPS Solutions are selected by Buhari's federal government for tech projects ahead of organizations like Andela. Just be Fulani and connected. That's all it takes. That's what David has to say, not my opinion. So there's another reaction from Dr. Olufunmilayo. Says, People's Gazette says Buhari government through the CBN gave 136 million naira to Adamu Garba to develop an app that can rival Facebook and Twitter. It says all of that you can see on the screen. And this is what people feel about, Adamu Garba at the moment, and this is what people are talking about. That's one from Nefertiti. She says FG gave Adamu Garba 136.8 million to develop an app that can rival Twitter. Kore did not only copy Spotify verbatim, it went to town like a town crier fighting Jack. Quota system can never cross the Atlantic Ocean. There you have it.
Okay, so so this is quite alleged from the People's Gazette, right? Because Adamu Garba is quite a controversial voice on social media.
On social media.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to say, but we're time pressed. So I would just say, Elizabeth, thank you so much for bringing us the latest.
I wish you could say what you wanted to say, but I guess we just have to go.
Is the transfer for me, Lizzie? Like, seriously. 136.8 million? Wow. Wow.
All right, we'll see you later, Lizzie. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. See you guys later. Thank you.
All right, let's go straight to some sports updates when it comes to Euro 2020. No time to wait. Let's start from Group E. We saw matches yesterday. Another bad one for the Spanish team. 5-0. They thrashed their opponents. Talking about Slovakia. And it was a big win for them. The likes of Morata missed a penalty again. Poland lost 3-2 to Sweden, who had both goals from Emil Forsberg. Germany drew 2-2 against Hungary. They were at some point looking like we're going to get knocked out. It was quite a strange one. Also in Group F, yes, Portugal against France finishing 2-2. Ronaldo breaking every form of international record for goal scoring. He scored twice yesterday alongside Karim Benzema for France, who also scored twice. So let's look at the matches to expect when it comes to the quarterfinal knockout phase. Wales against Denmark, Italy, Austria, the Dutch against the Czech Republic, Belgium, Portugal, Croatia, Spain, France, Switzerland, England versus Germany. We're back at it again. Sweden against Ukraine. There you have it for the knockout phase of Euro 2020.
All right, it's time to link up to the breakfast co-anchor who has been away, but we'll take just a quick breather. We'll be right back. Yeah, we're dancing away. Oluchi, like I told you, is the lady that's been sitting on this seat, but she had to be away for a while. She is back. Welcome back, lady.
Thank you, Felicity and Elisa. It was quite a short break, but I had to go to the eastern part of Nigeria. Remember that election is coming up in Anambra State, November 6th of 2021. I had to be there to do other things and also monitor the election. Now, the primary just happened yesterday for one of the political parties, and another primaries will be happening for the two political parties on Saturday. We'll be giving you updates right here on News Central.
Thank you very much. Good to have you back. I hope you're well.
I am excited to be back, and I'm excited to be back.
Please come and take your seat. Let me go.
Oluchi, we clearly missed you, but I don't know why, and this is going out to our producer, Joe. You don't, if Madam travel, we are supposed to allow the other madam go before the other madam come. We're not supposed to let the other madam catch the other madam while your guy is still there.
All right, Oluchi will be here on the breakfast tomorrow. Nevertheless, it has been a beautiful time with Olisa.
Yeah, we are innocent. We do anything. We were just doing the practice. So Oluchi, my hands are clean. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Oluchi will be here on behalf of the cast and crew. Bye-bye.